Hey everybody, what's going on? The Montreal Canadiens have gone through 7 preseason games and currently have a record of 0-6-1, which is exactly how some fans hope the regular season goes this season, with the Connor Bedard sweepstakes up for grabs this year in 2022-2023. In saying that, we still have to look at what there is to look forward to for this NHL season, but let's focus on how the defensive pairs should line up heading into the season and which young defensemen are earning a spot on this current Montreal Canadiens roster. Now let's just go right out and say it. Kaiden Guhle is in a class of his own right now in terms of the up-and-coming defensemen that the Montreal Canadiens have in their system. It's not to say that he necessarily has the highest ceiling of the bunch, but he certainly has the highest floor, and he's shown that throughout training camp and in the preseason. This is just already a veteran-type defenseman that the Canadiens are going to bring into their lineup as a 20-year-old. He plays the game with such a high pace and high energy, and he's the type of player you want on your second pairing in the future, and I wouldn't be surprised if he started there at least to start the season with David Savard. They've been showcasing them together throughout the majority of training camp, and they actually did so last season if you look back into what they did during training camp as well. So it shouldn't be a surprise that these two are going to continue to potentially be the Montreal Canadiens shutdown pair to begin the season. Guhle is just showing up in camp. He provides a stable presence on the back end. He can move the puck. He has a great first pass. He's physical. He has great gap control. This is the type of player that the Montreal Canadiens have been looking for on the back end for a while now, and he undoubtedly deserves a spot on their blue line to begin the season. Now, it's unsure if he's going to stay there for the entirety of the season because there could be a bit of a revolving door in terms of the young defenseman going to Laval, but at least to start the season, there is no doubt that Kaiden Guhle will be on the Montreal Canadiens roster and play a role in a lot of minutes at least to begin the season. If you look towards what some of the other younger defensemen that the Montreal Canadiens embody in their system were looking at heading into training camp, you likely would have thought that Justin Barron and Jordan Harris would have had a leg up on the rest of the competition in terms of their odds of making the Habs out of training camp. That necessarily hasn't come to fruition though. Both players have been fine in training camp. I might give a little bit of an edge to Justin Barron over Jordan Harris right now, just in terms of his two-way play. But both players, I think, should start in Laval, play some heavy minutes, and get accustomed to playing that kind of ferocious AHL style of game. You're going to be more physical down there. You're going to have to move the puck a little bit faster. And I think that it'll do both of these players a lot of good to start the season in Laval. But in saying that, there's one defenseman that continues to turn heads and stand out as a threat to make the Montreal Canadiens out of training camp, and that's none other than 6'4" defenseman Arber Xhekaj out of the Hamilton Bulldogs, who was essentially Marc Bergevin's going away present. He signed as an undrafted free agent with the Habs before Marc Bergevin left as general manager of the Canadiens, and it appears the new management teams like what they see from Xhekaj as well, and how can you blame them? This is the type of player that's mobile for his size. He's 6'4", like I mentioned, but he brings this physical presence to the table that the Montreal Canadiens just don't really have on their roster right now. It's an intimidating presence that he's brought to the table since his time in the OHL, and there's no doubt he brings an element that the Habs are currently lacking, meaning it wouldn't be a surprise to see him make the big club out of camp, even if it's just for a little while Joel Edmondson tries to get healthy for the big club. I just think that this is a player that's shown he deserves a bit of time out of training camp, and I think he earns that little bit of time in the NHL at least to start the season. That's it for me today from Cook's Corner. As always, let me know in the comment section down below which young defensemen you think have stood out during training camp and the preseason, and if you think any of them besides Guhle will make the big club. I'm Zach Cook. We'll see you later.